it's all on next week's show. Okay, there are literally billions of people around the world who love Star Wars. That's a fact. Yeah, many of them work here at the Big Breakfast. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome now to the shed, the holy shed, the man responsible for creating the entire Star Wars universe. Would you please give it up for the one, the only, Mr. George Lucas, ladies and gentlemen. Morning, George. Welcome to our humble shed. Now, all week we've had this family tree of Phantom Menace on the show here. I just wonder what you made of it. It's confused a lot of people.
Well, I think it makes perfect sense. I mean, I think here, if you turn left, you really should end up in Putney. No.
Only if you change it. Okay. Now, episode 1 is probably the most anticipated film ever. Talk to me about the pressure of that. The pressure
None, really. I mean, to me, it's just a movie, and you know, I work every day, and I just make my little movie, and I feel fairly secure it'll be well received by a few people, and you know, so the pressure is, you know, not that great actually. I know the really high expectations of some of the fans and everything I can't possibly meet, so.
Well, that's really what
I simply don't worry about it, because there's nothing I can do about it. Once you get your expectations so high, there's no way you can meet them.
What was it you think about the original movies that kind of captured people's imagination so much?
Well, it's probably because they're the most brilliant films ever made, and endlessly entertaining.
The preachers are converted.
Besides that, I think you know, they're based on ancient myths and mythology and the kinds of stories that have entertained people for thousands of years, and I did it as a kind of an experiment of trying to move this forward, and it actually worked a lot better than I imagined. But I'm pretty sure that it's sort of the ancient emotional underpinnings that make people really gravitate toward it.
Because the way I kind of read it well, the way I imagine it is that, you know, George has this book, a great big leather book covered in dust. It's the Chronicles of Space, and it's there, and you've written the whole thing already, and it's, you know, it's complete in your own mind. Is that right?
No, that's wrong.
But you don't have the complete story all mapped out right from the start. All those years ago, it was all there.
No.
Okay, nice.
What I have.
So you're winging it.
No, I have a little story treatment, a little outline that says this happened here, and in the first one I actually had all the scripts, but I had to sort of rewrite the scripts as I went along, because since they became 3 movies, they had to have different structures and things. But what I'm working on now was the backstory, which I'd written out. Oh, this is where he came from. This is where he came from. This is what the Clone Wars are all about. This is all this stuff. It's just a little outline basically that goes right through the plot of the movie and where the characters came from and what they did. It's only about 7 or 8 pages.
Oh, that's brilliant. All these people think you've schemed the whole thing up, but in fact, George Lucas, he makes it up as he goes along. Okay, now we all know the story of the original trilogy. What does this new one concern before we have a look at a clip of the action?
This one is about young Anakin as a boy, and how he goes from being a slave on a remote planet on the edge of the universe to getting to be trained as a Jedi, and how that all transpires. That's one story. And there's another story where a queen's planet is being threatened by some powerful trade federation. And
can you just explain this, because this is the bit that the writing at the start concerns.
That's where the writing.
So what is the writing at the start of this one? What's it going to tell our viewer?
Well, most people find it confusing, but basically what it says is that there's a planet. The bad guys have surrounded it.
Planet. Bad guys, round it.
Yeah, surrounded.
Why?
They can't get it. Well, we don't know why. It doesn't make any difference.
It's a $150 million movie. What do you want to know? Yeah.
They're bad guys. What
they're bad guys. That's all you need to know now.
Yeah, they're bad guys. And the people on the planet are threatened, and there's a trade dispute. And so they send these 2 Jedi to, who are the kind of enforcers of the universe.
Ewan and Liam, we know them.
Yeah, and they come to settle the dispute. And the way they settle disputes is sort of the way the mafia settles disputes. They sort of come in and say, you take half, it's settled, okay, now that's the end of it, and gets it over with. But they stumble into the fact that there's a much bigger conspiracy going on, and the real plot is that these bad guys are going to take over the planet, and it's actually involved in a much bigger and more obscure plot that goes on by the character we know as the Phantom Menace.
The Phantom Menace. Okay, let's have a look at a clip of the action. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah. Now, as you can see there, the special effects in the movie are absolutely stunning. How much of the movie was actually generated on a computer? How much was live action that the actors could actually see?
Well, ultimately, it's like 2 movies. we shot the entire film live, and then we animated the entire film. So you're watching an animated film and a live-action film both at the same time. 95% of the film has been manipulated digitally, either with animated characters or backgrounds or whatever. There's very little of it that's actually real.
This is question 7. Are you ready? You're good friends with Steven Spielberg. I know you like to put little references to each other's movies in your own ones. Did I see a couple of ETs in this one?
There are a couple of ETs.
A couple of ETs.
Yeah.
Was that a tough decision to make?
Well, they weren't in there originally. I showed the film to Steven. He said, "Where's the ETs?" And I said, "Oh," because he mentioned it like years before and I'd forgotten about it. I said, "Oh, all right, I'll go back and I'll put some ETs in there somewhere."
Because we had a couple of really overweight Star Wars fans in the show with sort of long hair, little goatees there, and they didn't like that at all. The invasion of ETs into there. I pointed out to them that they're not very good with women. Sort of evened it up. Do you know what? I'd like you to hang around. So we will be having another chat in just a second, okay. I hope. In the meantime, though, I've got... where are my pants? Oh, here we go. These are genuine Darth Maul pants.
Oh, yeah.
Beware the dark side. If you just like to slip your signature... We've got a shrine. Someone's going to win the shrine. Just like to put your signature on that, just while we're... Yeah, put it on the dark side. Why not? Do you know what? This is Channel 4. You're watching The Big Breakfast. The force is strong with you, George. Aye. Oh, yes. I tell you what, they say no news is good news, but my goodness, when it comes like that, George, it's good news. There's a quiet little film that's just hit our screens. You've probably only heard of it if you're a real film buff. We'd like to introduce you now to its director once again. Would you please give it up for Mr. George Lucas? A couple of enthusiasm from over in the garden there. Okay, firstly, what's been your favourite Star Wars parody? A lot of people parody the film.
Well, there's a one that was done a long time ago called Hardware Wars, which has become infamous, and there's a new one that's just starting on the circuit now called George Lucas in Love.
George Lucas in Love.
Yes, which is very funny. It's you know, take off on Shakespeare in Love, only it's how I came up with Star Wars.
Oh, right. Yeah. And you don't mind? It's not savage or anything.
No.
Okay. You said when George Lucas in Love, it was one of those sort of satirical porno films.
Yeah.
It's disgraceful.
I wish.
Yeah. Yes. So if you make that as a film, I want to cut. Okay. Okay. I've got some questions now from British fans. I have a lot of fans in Britain.
Okay.
And they've used the internet.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not saying it like it's futuristic.
Yeah, it is.
Marvellous little thing. You slide these little silver records into it. Now, Jonathan Green from Putney asks why you went back to the start of the saga and didn't finish the story Luke, Han and Leia, etc. from the original trilogy. Will you ever finish that story?
No, I won't. Because ultimately, this is all I have written. And this is really the backstory to the original Star Wars. And I haven't written any sequels. And I'm too lazy to go out and do it.
Cameron, I think you're very motivated. Okay. Mike Loft from Kent wants to know who your favourite Star Wars character is yourself. Who do you like the most?
Anakin. Well, it's actually Luke.
Did you have quite a... Do you yourself have quite a... Yeah, it's sitting there. What can I tell you? Do you have a dark side yourself? Yeah?
No, of course not.
Okay, I'll move on.
I'm not even human.
Okay, I didn't want to get... Do you know what? I didn't even want to get that deep. You've revealed you're not human. That's deeper than I wanted to go. I like to keep it really shallow.
Okay.
Please don't do that again. Joanne Smith from Liverpool wants to know what it is about this movie that made you want to direct again after not doing that for so long.
Well, I was getting bored, and my life was happy, and I decided I'd do something to make myself miserable.
You're exactly right. Sometimes if it's all positive, it's a bad thing,
yeah.
Isn't it? You need a struggle in life.
Yeah, you need something.
Was this a real struggle?
Making the film was great, you know, but the press part is, you know, being here and doing these things. Yeah,
meaningless interviews.
This is, meaningless interviews, endless for month after month. It's, you know, torture.
It must be torture. At least we're in the shed doing a bit of Jedi White. Richard Barrett from Buckinghamshire, he asks, people say if Shakespeare were alive today, he'd be George Lucas. What does that feel like?
Scary.
Okay.
I don't know what to think about that.
I don't know what to think about it either. Sometimes people leak through our censoring system and they just get through to you.
High level for the show, I think.
Well spotted. Jamie White. Now, this is a question we got. Why? Jamie White asks on email, why didn't you release the Star Wars trilogy on DVD? I'm a DVD fan myself. Why haven't you done this?
Well, I'm waiting really until I finish all the films before I do that. Because
all 6? I've got to wait that long?
Yeah, well, hey, you know.
Not even you can do the first trilogy. You've got them on the digitally remastered video 3 set.
Yeah, I know, but I want to make it as a $6, 6-film set when I release it.
$6 set. Okay. Do you know what, George? We've been playing extremely tenuous games to do with Star Wars all week with our Star Wars guests. Do you know what? It's time for us to play Star Wars. Yeah, it's an old favourite parlour game in Britain. Star Wars. Do you know what? I have pictures of actors with facial warts or moles. There they are, and they've been covered up, and only the wart is showing. This is Star Wars. I want you to try and guess. Who do you think this first wart belongs to? I have a guess, just blind, and afterwards I can give you the first clue. I'd say you're good if you get that.
It is very difficult. Gosh.
Can I give you a clue?
Sure. Give me a clue.
You looking at me? You looking at me? I don't see anyone
Bobby
else
De
standing
Niro?
there. Yes, exactly right. It is Robert De Niro. There you go. Fantastic. Carrying on the right cheek. Okay, here we go. This is number 2. Let me just get one. Oh, I know.
Only your brilliant performance.
Did that flap up any sore?
No. But you
Are
could
you sure?
just go like that. Give me a chance.
Just hate it when multi-million-dollar producers cheat on small games. Okay, what do you think here? There's the wart there.
Yeah, I see.
I tell you what, though, all the president's men couldn't take the sting out of Africa.
Oh! That's, I know him. He's a good friend of mine. Oh,
You have it up, or do you want some help?
How about Sundance?
Yes, it is. That's close enough for me.
I can never remember these guys' names. They're all stars are like
Dave
Redford.
Dave Smeaton. Okay, here we go. This is the very last one. I'm just going to check my notes. Oh, this is okay. Okay? Do you think you can get it from that wart there? Have a good look.
My goodness.
Use the wart.
Yeah.
Use the wart. George.
Alec Guinness.
No, it's not. I'll give you a clue. Is there something?
Yoda.
Is there something amish about this solo flying carpenter? Is there something amish?
Harrison doesn't have a wart there.
Well, you're wrong. He does. There it is. A wart.
Well, you put that on there. That's not real.
Are you saying it's added wart?
Yeah, it's a special effect. That's a special effect.
Anakin in the film. Come on in, son. There we go. You'd have got that, wouldn't you? Just from that wart, you'd have known that was Harrison Ford. What do you reckon?
No.
Oh, snubbed by the youngster. Listen, George Lucas, thank you very much for joining me in the shed for some Jedi Y. It's really not working
slow
at
down,
all.
yeah,
Thank you very much for dropping down here, Jake. Dropping down to the house today. Excellent to see you both. Jake and George, ladies and gentlemen. Good luck. Thank you very much. Absolutely excellent. Cheers.
Thanks.
Now this.